Alright, hey, Pragmatic Addict here. It is very great to be back. Oh my gosh, we are so back. So, I was very anxious to see this movie. First off, I am a fan of M. Night Shyamalan. I like the kind of themes he tackles. I love the twists that he incorporates when they land. And this film just seemed to be very different for him. Kind of like Split or The Visit was, where it wasn't really in terms of like spirituality. It seemed to be more on edge, like The Visit was an actual fully fledged horror film, like a found footage one. Split was obviously his first introduction as far as like incorporating a universe into his filmography, where this one centers on a fucking serial killer called The Butcher. Which, speaking of Split, one of the details that really started the engine for this film's hype train was actually something that a lot of people caught in the trailer, which read, "From the world of M. Night Shyamalan." That specific tagline, I don't recall ever being, mentioned in trailers for his films in the marketing. And like I had mentioned earlier, Split was the director's first film that kind of played around with that idea. And upon this film's release, there were some pretty hype theories that fans were cooking up, man. I mean, I'm not gonna say what those theories were, or whether they came into fruition, but also with this film seemingly giving away its twist in the trailer, that made a lot of people think, that can't be the twist, right? That can't be the twist. What if there's another twist, or a couple twists? There's no way that the only twist, or at least the big twist, is gonna be revealed in the film's first trailer. Those theories, along with the serial killer topic being something that this director has never really tackled, as well as just being this far into M. Night's career, after making his signature name with twists, bringing back a big production like Warner Brothers, as well as having Josh Hartnett come back into the spotlight in a leading role, there was just so much that this film had going for it. There was so much hype for an M. Night Shyamalan film once again. But also lastly, yes, with this film being an M. Night Shyamalan film, with the director having an admittedly pretty hit and miss filmography, was this going to be the next big Shyamalan film? What was it going to do differently besides the serial killer topic? Was it going to be the next big film? Again, there was a lot of hype, a lot of theories going for this film. Just in typical Shyamalan fashion, there was no way I could predict anything. So guys, without any spoilers, let's talk about Trap.
This whole concert? It's a trap.
Also, the first reviews for this one were actually pretty hype as well. I'm gonna read a few of them here. I'm happy to report that Trap is an absolute banger. Old M. Night Shyamalan is back with this one. Josh Hartnett killed it, and I'm here for his comeback. Trap stands high alongside Shyamalan's other works like Split and Knock at the Cabin. M. Night is back, baby. Trap rocks. His best film since The Village? Pretty hype stuff. I will say though, I was admittedly a bit worried about this film's rating, which yes, this is a PG-13 serial killer film from M. Night Shyamalan. I didn't really know what to expect with that. I didn't really have high expectations with that. But again, like I said earlier, impossible to predict. So let's finally get into Trap. So this film's premise is very straightforward, very wacky, in which it reads: a serial killer named Cooper, also known as the Butcher, attends a pop concert with his teenage daughter Riley. Cooper soon discovers, though, that the concert is actually a trap set by police to catch him. So right away, I'll say this. I adored the production behind this film, where it almost feels like a throwback film in its sense of how straightforward it is, the daddy-daughter chemistry, almost kind of like a road trip movie. Well, not really a road trip movie, but a trip movie, with its setting and everything. It's just, it's not a film that you see being released in today's sense. Also, the singer Salika as Lady Raven. It's funny because Josh Hartnett was saying that during the production of this movie, cast members got CDs and everything, and that by the time this film had actually gotten into filming and everything, that the cast had actually become fully fledged fans, and the filming as far as being at a Salika concert, it was just going to a concert and having, that filmed. They were actually fans at this point. They were singing along to all the music. Which, yeah, talking about that one review earlier that I read, instantly there were tracks where I was like, okay, this is not just the case where M. Night Shyamalan's putting his baby in the spotlight. No, this this singer's got some talent, dude. I'm just gonna say, with half the movie being like aside from the serial killer aspect being a concert setting, both things were fucking landing enough, which we will get into. But with this film being very straightforward, obviously having Josh Hartnett making his leading return, that was going to be one of the like absolute most important things of the movie. And instantly, as a dad, before the shit gets going, he is adorable, son. He is lovable. He really feels like just that good father taking his daughter to see her favorite singer and being the stereotypical good dad that's trying to be cool, that's just trying to please his daughter. And it's just coming off in all of like the heartwarming, cringy, but also just lovable ways that you can expect. And it's really interesting because it actually got to the point where it hit me like I was really mixed about the reveal in the trailer, where half of me was like, well, now I kind of wish that they didn't reveal that in the trailer, because how much I love his character so far, that would be, I can't even predict how that would feel. That would just be something to just kind of hit you like, oh, what? He's the bad guy. I'm rooting for this dude. What do I do? But also, in another sense, I kind of liked the reveal in the trailer, because now I was like, okay, I like this guy this much. He's a great dad. He's a great character up to this point. How is that going to like play out as far as him just taking a total switch, becoming a serial killer? What is going to happen? Because this guy is like capturing me, man. Also, just as character in this movie, you know, I wasn't expecting too much. I was like, okay, well, it's going to be Josh Hartnett becoming unhinged, getting his kind of spotlight back, playing a serial killer, which is very different for M. Night Shyamalan, in a setting that is very just different in general, being a concert setting. I wasn't expecting too much, but as far as like side characters, what I liked is that there's a lot of characters in the sense of like concert goers, other fans, there's some nasty fans, and all I'm gonna say is, along with that, with the incorporations of like fans' mothers and everything, people that know Riley and know Josh Hartnett's character, as well as obviously the security guard, all I'm gonna say is that like there are a lot of side characters and they don't get a lot to do, but just what they do get to do, it was just enough where I was like, okay, I didn't expect this much, but it's not like it's a big deal. I just didn't expect there to be so many side characters, and again, they don't get a whole lot to do, but what they do get to do, it's so fun to see how Josh Hartnett's unpredictable, unhinged character, it's fun to see how that gets incorporated to this kind of film and its setting and its story. Also, another thing that I really liked was just how this film becomes one movie to the next, where, you know, you're seeing like slowly cops moving in. You can pick up on some things, but things aren't, you know, set into motion yet. You know, this is still just this innocent daddy-daughter movie where they're going to a concert. It was so fun to see these little things that not only you, the viewer, are picking up, but also Josh Hartnett's character that we, you know, already know who he really is. It just felt like you could kind of see the storm in the distance brewing. It's getting closer, but you don't know how big it's going to hit or when it'll happen. What I really had fun with this movie was that it kind of feels like a slow burn. It kind of feels like that cat and mouse kind of film where it's toying with you, where it just sprinkles so much into such a seemingly straightforward and just kind of simplistic setting, where you can tell that the film was having fun with itself. You can tell that for a topic that this director is tackling, and for all the settings and all that kind of goes into it, and just how bizarre and different it already is, you can tell just how much fun they're having with that. I will say though, here comes my first criticism. That scene that we get in the trailer of Josh Hartnett's character going into the stall, where it's kind of like the big reveal hits, it just kind of comes up abrupt and as quick as the trailer shows, where even in the trailer I was like, okay, well that could have been left out. Why? The journey that Josh Hartnett takes, like his character takes as the butcher, the transition from the lovable, goofy dad to that serial killer side taking center stage, it feels a bit goofy in the sense of, well, this film's fucking story. But I wouldn't say it's bad. I would just say that pretty much everything up to this point in the film was kind of just right at home, was kind of like where it needed to be, and just as entertaining as it possibly could have been, you know, whether that be in a darkly comical side, whether that be in a morbid way that you could expect from the film's sense and everything. But going forward now with what I had touched on briefly earlier is, again, like the concert setting. It really does become more than just a setting and actually offers some genuine story progression, which I will just say, like, it isn't the most structured transition of the film. Like, it kind of takes you out in between like the concert setting and the serial killer setting. Like after the butcher side has already come full swing, and we've already seen like, you know, people getting attacked and character twists and everything, and we've gotten into the thick of what the film is for the most part. There are times where it just cuts back to the concert setting as a story point where I'll say this. I liked what was shown. Like, it didn't feel the most connected at all. It felt probably like the weakest aspect of the film up to this point, where I kind of had forgotten about the butcher's side because the movie just, it kind of like departs from that and it centers on something that's kind of, again, it's important as far as like a story point. I liked what was shown, but it just took you out of what the movie had led up to this point. So there were a lot of times where I was like, okay, this doesn't feel the most proper or structured, but there was still generally always enough to like about the movie, even when it wasn't the most cohesive. Now I will say, getting toward like the final act of the film, or what would be the final act of the film, I say that because this final act never fucking ends. It's funny because it plays out like tonally and like pace-wise where you're like, okay, this is obviously going to be where the big bang comes in at some point. I'd actually like to rewatch the film and look at its time because this ending, or this finale, this final act, it should be the final act, but I swear, dude, this thing goes on for like an hour. It's probably not an hour because the movie's 105 minutes, but goddamn, dude, there was a point where I was like, okay, look, I like the movie. I want to see the ending. For the most part, this movie has been the most batshit, most unhinged, maybe the most different and personal film M. Night's ever done. But get to the punchline. Because I'm just going to say it, this finale, or this final act, it incorporates everything. And not in the sense where it just goes all out. Just everything in the sense where I was like, what happened? I mean, the butcher side of the story and the concert side of the story are already vastly different, and somehow you made it work. It was definitely maybe the only time where I was really lost in the movie. I was genuinely questioning some decisions, but I will say how unhinged the movie has been up to this point, how unpredictable it has been, and how just fun you could tell that M. Night had with the movie itself. One thing I will say is that it is that kind of like transition into the final act where you'll be whispering to your friend like theories that you'll have. You'll be like, okay, I may be wrong, but imagine if this happened. I can see it happening. Or like throughout the act, things are kind of like sidewinding you in that cat and mouse kind of serial killer way, but also from M. Night that I really did enjoy. Like regardless, this was definitely a sloppy finale, a sloppy final act, but I still had, like, I was still at least entertained throughout it. It kind of had everything going for it up until its sloppy ending, in my opinion, but I'd still say that Trap is maybe M. Night's most different, bizarre, and maybe even personal film he's done, and I'm gonna give this film a pass.
Enjoy the rest of the concert.
So guys, that is going to do it for my thoughts on M. Night Shyamalan's newest film, Trap. I was kind of wrestling with myself. I was like, okay, is this the most unhinged, most different film that he's done? Because I would say The Visit. It was a found footage film. The director's never done that. It was a genuinely scary movie, in my opinion. I would put this one up there with The Visit as far as like how unhinged and different it is for the director. So guys, that is going to do it for my thoughts on M. Night Shyamalan's Trap. Let me know what you guys thought about the review as well the movie down in the comments below. Thank you guys as always for watching, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Take care.